This episode of How About That Dogs Cast is going to be different. If you follow along on social media, you're going to know, you may have seen that I lost my mom this week. And I debated long and hard about whether or not I was even going to be able to do a show this week, whether it was right, whether that's the kind of thing that you're supposed to share with a lot of people. And then I remembered who I was. I remembered that I am her son. I remembered that this is what she would want me to do. Because she knows how much the University of Georgia means to me. And because she knows that everything that I've done on this channel or in my life, whether it was going to the University of Georgia and graduating, being the first in my family to do that, or whether it was starting this channel to try to give other Georgia people a place to celebrate and discuss something that means so much to us. She knew that whatever it was, at the root of it all, I wanted her to be proud of me and of what I was doing, because I represented her and my dad, who I lost more than a decade ago. And that's why I wanted to be here tonight. This might be hard for me, but I guess that's okay. But I'm here because I know she would want me to be here. And yeah, we're going to talk about Georgia. Spring practice is going on, just started. And that's one of the main things that I kind of want to wrap this episode around. Not the practices themselves. We're not going to see what happens at practice. We're going to get reports and we're going to follow it like fans. And Mom would have been asking me how the team was doing, and she would be watching these broadcasts and every other video I do and every social media post I make. Because not only did she want to support me with everything that she was, she wanted to know how those dogs were doing. And she trusted me to shoot her straight and let her know what the team was going to be. So we're going to talk about Georgia. But we're going to talk about Georgia through the lens of family. I'm going to share a little bit of my story. And just a little bit of our story. But I did want to take an opportunity to recognize my mom, Betty Powers. Like any mother, she loved us on a level that I could not understand until I became a father myself. She loved us in such a way that I could not, as much as I tried, fully get my head around. And of course, as a new dad, as a new parent, when I needed somebody to talk to, or I had a question, or I felt overwhelmed, Mom was the first person I called. And she believed in the power of love. And she reminded me often when I was a new dad and I was exhausted, when everything seemed hard, she reminded me that the answer was in the love that I could give to my children. To hold them close, squeeze them tight. Because even if I didn't know what to say, that they would get the message that above and beyond anything else, they knew that they were loved. And to this day, the one thing that I fall back on, the one piece of advice that I will carry with me forever about being a parent, is to just love that baby. Now, this picture you're looking at here was from G-Day, where my mom we didn't live in the same town, but she had come up to join us because we wanted to take her to G-Day with us so she could experience what it meant to be in the stadium on a beautiful day with a bunch of Bulldog fans. And this trip was even more special because it was her first trip to see the Dawgs inside Sanford. Even though she had been a fan since she knew what football was, she had never had that opportunity. And what made it even more special was that on this day, it was my first daughter's first trip to Athens to be in the stadium. So Mom got to be right there and enjoy all of that right along beside us. And there were tons of pictures taken and wonderful memories made, laughs and love, hugs and kisses and stories. It was everything that you would want that kind of day to be. And on a day like this, when her loss is still raw and she still feels just as present as ever, this picture is the one that I want to share with you. Now, G-Day is coming. And as I think back to my experiences with my mom on G-Day and what it meant to me, that got me to thinking about what I wanted to say about this G-Day, the one that's coming up in just a few days, and a message that I want to leave you with. We'll get to that right after this. Y'all know we talk about champions, and that's why I want to tell you about the Premier difference with a Premier Club membership from Premier Heating and Air. Regardless of the changes that come with the seasons, winter, spring, summer, or football, some things will never change. I'm going to be comfortable in my own home, and the comfort and well-being of my family will always be my top priority. If you feel the same way, choosing Premier Heating and Air is the play to take care of all of your family's needs when it comes to keeping you cool and comfortable in your home or business. Whether you're looking to keep your current HVAC system running at peak performance, you need to replace an aging system, or you're adding on to your home and need to upgrade to a larger heating and air system, which is what I did a few years back when we built an addition to our home, Premier Heating and Air has got you covered. Be sure to check out their Premier Club membership offer to keep your home heating and cooling systems running at peak performance and avoid costly repairs in the future. Just click the link in the description below today to get started and give yourself the gift of time, freedom, and peace of mind to focus on the most important things in your life. The choice is clear, y'all. You've just got to experience Premier. Growing up, I had been raised a Georgia Bulldog fan. There's a set piece right over my shoulder that I cherish, and it was a gift from my father to my mother when the Dawgs won the national championship in 1980. And it was not just a random gift, it was an anniversary gift, because my parents were married in early January, and the Dawgs went on their run, won the title, and then lo and behold, if my dad, doing what he thought was a cool thing, and it was, but you just would have had to know him. Most people wouldn't think necessarily to give their wife a gift wrapped around the University of Georgia, which neither of them had been fortunate enough to attend, as an anniversary present. But he did, commemorating their national championship. And that plaque, it was a handmade wooden plaque with the old Georgia Bulldog logo on it, the one with the big head and the hat. And he gave her that as an anniversary present. And just as he had hoped, they both got a good kick out of it and laughed, and she cherished it. And then, as I was a little kid growing up and was a huge Bulldog fan, she wanted me to have it. And I, of course, was too young to fully appreciate it. That would change. What you're looking at on the screen here is the program cover for the first Georgia game that I was able to attend. Now, I didn't get to go with my parents. My background was one that my folks were working. We didn't come from much, but they were working hard to make sure that we always had everything that we needed. And they knew that even though they couldn't be with us all the time, that they loved us and they wanted us to have access to as much as possible and be able to experience all the things that they couldn't experience. And this is one example of that. So you might wonder how I got to the game if my parents couldn't take me and it wasn't a friend or a family member that went with me. That was because I was able to go to the game through the 4-H program in my local community. I had gotten involved and I had an opportunity to go to a game, spend a day in Athens, have lunch, do all the things because of my involvement with the 4-H program. A program that I never could have been involved in if it weren't for my parents making certain that I could pay the dues and pay enough. I'm sure it cost something, some small amount to get to go to this game. But they made sure I had it because they knew I wanted to go. Loved the sport of football, loved the University of Georgia, and they wanted to give me an experience that I wasn't going to have any other way. And this day, I saw Georgia beat the Ole Miss Rebels between the hedges. One of my best memories from childhood. And it all happened because of my parents. Doing something that they didn't have to do, but that they really wanted to make sure they were able to do. And it just speaks to the sacrifice of parents and what they do for you. The thing about me and the University of Georgia was, and this is something that my mom commented on all the time. From the time I was 8 years old, I told my mom what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And I know that sounds ridiculous. I know that that's not how things work for people usually. But I've always been that sort of optimistic, childlike wonder person, the person who thinks anything is possible. And I told her and my father that I wanted to be a sports journalist at 8 years old. That was it. I had made my mind up. It was not the folly of a naive child. And then when they sent me on this trip, because I guarantee you that was part of it. Like, I want to go see the game. I want to understand what it's like to be there. They made sure that I could go. And 100 other steps along the way between the time I was 10 years old and went to this game and the time that I wound up in Athens as a student at the University of Georgia. Because that was the next step. As I told them what I wanted to be when I grew up and meant it, and they believed it and didn't discount it, which allowed me to really believe it. And then they sent me to Georgia in a circumstance where they couldn't go with me, so I could go watch the Dawgs play and understand what that was like firsthand. And then when I came back, I was like, that's it. I'm going to the University of Georgia. That's it. And there was no more discussion. From that moment until I wound up on campus in Athens, there were a million different ways that my parents supported me, nurtured a young dream, and believed every bit as much as I did that I could do those things. And then when I graduated from the University of Georgia, the Grady School of Journalism, there was no more proud day in my life than to be able to stand there with my mother and father who had done literally everything within their power to assist me in my efforts. Until that day when I walked across that stage and received that diploma. There was never an instance where my mom or my dad didn't do any and everything I asked. And it wasn't much. They couldn't do much, but what they could do, they did. But more than anything, they supported me. And they didn't tear down my dreams. And they allowed me to believe, even when I couldn't believe for myself, that that dream was still possible. They were the ones who reminded me that it was. Because as hard as anything had ever been in my life, there had not been one instance where I hadn't come through it and conquered whatever the obstacle was to get to the other side. And that instance, whatever it was, would be no different. That steadfast belief and that bedrock support that they gave me, it meant literally everything. So throughout my days, the University of Georgia had held a very special place in my life and the trajectory of what my life was going to be. And then I graduated, started my career, and I'm still on that journey to this day. And every day since I began my career Well, Mom was right there. And Dad was there too, as long as he was with us. Nothing changed. I am more thankful for that than anything I could ever express here. But more than all of that, more than just doing the job, they would remind me constantly through their example, not their words, of what it was like to live life as a decent human being. The kindest people I have ever known. The sort of kind, the sort of loving support that I strive to emulate. I'm 47. I will turn 48 the weekend of G-Day. And in all of my days, theirs is an example that I'm still striving to live up to. So yeah, moms and dads, they matter. They literally can change the course of your life. It's not always one big thing, but it's a million little things, and they're shaping that direction every day. I am so thankful and grateful to have had those people in my life. And that's part of the reason it hurts so much when they have to go. And like I said off the top, I wasn't sure what this was going to be or how it was going to come out. But I make no apologies for it. And ultimately, a few days after the initial shock of the loss of my mom had passed, I decided that I was going to share this loss with you, the community that has supported me in this effort here on YouTube and with the podcast and across social media. Because I was scared to death, if I'm telling the truth, about whether or not I should do that. It's so personal. But that's what life is. Life is our stories. And my mom, well, she was a great storyteller. And she shared and shared and shared. And more than once, she told me to trust and believe and be willing to take a chance that other people care. Here on the internet, that's a hard thing to do because it seems like there are way more people that have something negative or mean or hurtful or angry to share and spread and say than people who want to support you and lift you up and want to take just a second and tell you that what it is you're trying to do makes their world better, even if it's just a little bit. But you would always tell me that those are the people that mattered. The people that stand with you and support you in what you do. And the ones who take a second to share just how much they appreciate your work. That they were truly the rare and special people. Because they get it. They want you to know that good feeling. So I trusted her yet again. In one of the hardest periods of my life, and I decided to share all of this with you, this community, and I trust that you would appreciate it. And man, was Mom right. She was right. I shouldn't be surprised. Because once I posted the fact that I had lost her, I was blown away by the amount of support, kindness, love that was reflected back to me by the very people that she told me I could trust. These people, keep in mind, have never met my mom. Most of them have only ever met me just like this. Not obligated in any way to take just a few seconds out of their day to recognize anything I was talking about. And yet they showed up. This is just the YouTube page over on the community channel. But I shared the same information across a couple of other platforms, and I want to show you, because it's hard to express how thankful I am for the kindness and the humanity that you all have chosen to show a young man who is dealing with one of the hardest things this life has to offer. The thing about it is, again, these people, they didn't know my mom. Yet, you wouldn't know that from reading through these comments. And I understand that that's not the kind of thing that you seek out, that you want to go do. But if you need an example that humanity is still good, if you need a reason to be hopeful, then I would encourage you to go to these pages and read through these comments. We never know who is watching or who we may impact in life. But when you put good into the world, and friends, that's what my mother was. She was a beacon of kindness and goodness in a world that way too often seems to be lacking those things. When you put good out into the world, it seems to find its way back. It seems to come back to you. And if this experience has taught me anything in terms of that, when we're talking about the lens of social media and YouTube and content creation, it has shown me that that belief and that hope is true. There have been people sharing their stories of loss with me. People lifting us up in remembrance. To say that it's overwhelming would not do it justice. Because when you feel as alone as a moment like this might make you feel, and then you see that there are hands of people you've never actually met reaching out to you with open hearts, well, it's humbling. So what I wanted to do was take this opportunity to remember my mom and say thank you to her for everything all along the way. But I also wanted to take this chance to step out and remind you that events like G-Day are more than just a football game. The Georgia Bulldogs and the University of Georgia are more than just an educational institution or a football team. They're the kinds of things that we can share with one another and create bonds around that will last forever. And what better example or better opportunity to make those memories and create those bonds than an event like G-Day, where spring is coming back around, everything is in bloom, and life resonates anew. That's what I would say. Because football's fun. But taking your family or your friends and going to G-Day here in 2024, I hope you look at it in a way that has way more to do with who you're going with and the memories that you're going to make than it does who scores or who doesn't play well. Because it is our friends and our family that make this life worth living. That's why we're here, is to do all the good that we can do for somebody else. That's just one of the lessons that my mama taught me. And if you can, help somebody. Do all the things. Love your family. Live your life. And help somebody else along the way if you can. So when you're making plans to go to G-Day this year, and you're going to go cheer on those dogs between the hedges, and what I hope is a sun-splashed Sanford Stadium and a beautiful day here in the great state of Georgia. I want you to do it. I hope you will do it with a grateful and a thankful heart that you have yet another glorious day to spend with those people that you care about the most. Surrounded by your chosen family and Dog Nation. That's my hope for all of you as we head into spring practice here in 2024. There's going to be plenty of time to talk about the Bulldogs and position battles and championships and everything else associated with the game that we all love. But just don't take this trip too seriously. Make sure that the main thing is the main thing. All colored through those red and black lenses that we all wear. Speaking of chosen family, more than ever, I want to say thank you for supporting this channel and supporting this work and choosing to be a part of this community. When it comes to the Bulldogs, when it comes to the University of Georgia and the things that unite us, know that I love every one of you. I wish you only the best. I will do my very best, just as I have always done from this point moving forward, to do a job here that is representative of everything that I want it to be, everything that my mom hoped it could be, and my dad, because I'm still trying to make them proud. And if you choose to support this channel, I want you to be proud too. I love you, Mom. I miss you. Thanks to your support, we are on our way to 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube. That's a number I was never sure I would even be able to see on the horizon, and here we are, and that is strictly because of you. So I hope you will tell your friends. I hope you will share the videos. I hope that I do a good enough job to have you continue to support the channel so we can reach 10,000, hopefully before the season begins. That would be incredible. And every week I'm asked, is it just the YouTube channel or do you do other things too? And well, the bottom line is the How About That Dawgscast is a podcast, and you can find it wherever you get your podcasts and take us with you anywhere you want to go. If you just can't get enough of a Damn Beast Media and what we do with the How About That and Dogs Cast, be sure to sign up for our newsletter, because that's where you're going to find out about everything going on with everything going on here on the channel, and you're going to find out about it first. The link is in the description down below. It takes just a second. Click the link, sign up for the newsletter, and you'll never miss a thing. And of course, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to our channel members, the early adopters of the vision here at A Damn Beast Media, and the biggest supporters of the How About That and Dogs Cast, because they show up time after time in their comments, in their support, in their words of encouragement, here in the chat for the live streams. These are the OGs, the original supporters for Damn Beast Media, and we are more grateful than we could ever relay to you about you choosing to be here with us. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Take care of your family and friends. Take care of each other. And go Dogs.
So how about them fucking dogs? That's what I told them.